Hey folks, Mark Levin here. Now, before we dive in today's episode, I want to talk about something truly valuable, protecting your financial future with gold. It's called diversification. Now, for that, I only trust Advantage Gold. They're the real deal with 5-star service and a sterling reputation. So give them a call today. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000. Tell them Mark Levin sent you. Trust me, you'll thank yourself in the future. Now let's get to the show. Results may vary. Consult with your financial professional.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. Something is happening now, right now, that hasn't happened to our country in more than half a century, Mr. Producer. In more than half a century. As the New York Post points out, a flotilla of Russian ships passed within hailing distance of Florida's eastern coastline, with the U.S. Navy and Coast Guard following close behind, according to open-source maritime and air tracking information. That means they're like 30, 40 miles off the coast. The Coast Guard Cutter Stone, Navy-guided missile destroyers USS Truxtun, USS Donald Cook, and the Royal Canadian Navy frigate HMCS Viol de Quebec sailed after 4 Russian vessels reportedly headed to Cuba, according to online maritime trackers, including Vessel Finder. The group left Severomorsk, Russia, in May with plans to spend several months performing long-distance missions across the world to show the flag and ensure a naval presence in operationally important areas of the Far Ocean Zone, according to Russian state media, TASS. Moscow's presence so close to U.S. shores comes as representatives of nearly 100 countries across the world prepare to attend this weekend's Ukraine Peace Summit in Lucerne, Switzerland. Kamala Harris will be there in lieu of Joe Biden. Joe Biden is going to spend an entire week preparing for his debate. Now, this is a big deal. They have no fear of us. None of these countries do. None. I fear what's happening, America. What if Russia decided to put missiles in Cuba? What would we do now? Joe Biden's no Kennedy. What will we do? We've got this guy Blinken, who's a buffoon. More on him later. But I'm quite serious about this. China and Russia are in our hemisphere. They are physically in our hemisphere. China is physically in our hemisphere. Remember the Monroe Doctrine? That what goes on in our hemisphere involves the United States and that we will defend our hemisphere? Do you remember when John Kerry announced as Secretary of State that the Monroe Doctrine was no longer a doctrine embraced by the United States? Remember that? Oh, yeah, I remember everything. So here we have Putin. Now, the problem is we have isolationists and Marxists who are going to say we provoked this. Hello? Don't confuse Biden with the United States of America. The fact is, if Biden wasn't there, we didn't provoke anything. What's provocative, quite frankly, is our weakness, our unwillingness to build up our military. Our Navy has under 300 ships, about 283 ships. It's appalling. Under Reagan, we had 600 ships. 600. They wouldn't be messing with us. But they're messing with us now. And virtually our entire focus as a Biden regime is on Israel. I mean, this is incredible. And so this flotilla comes by and the media yawn. Okay, next, what's the big deal? If it doesn't involve Trump or we can't turn it into Trump, what are we going to do? By the way, on my Blaze program today, I almost never talk about it, but I want to talk about it right now. We took, it had to be 19 minutes, give or take, of the media, virtually every platform in this country, pushing the letter by the 51 fraudsters that the laptop, the Hunter laptop, was, a Russian influence operation to affect the outcome of the election. And we now know, of course, and we knew then that it certainly was not. And the New York Post took the lead. But when I played it and commented on it, it was so unbelievable what the media had done, and they do it all the time. It's like Sam Alito and the flags. Now they're interviewing the reprobate that was threatening the Alitos and made these horrific comments to Mrs. Alito. The American media is so horrendous. It's so psychotic. It's so hateful towards America and us that this clip, host after host, guest after guest, they're responsible for their guests and so forth. Assertion after assertion, lie built upon lie. It was so grotesque. And it is important to remember these things. It absolutely is. I mean, we remember them generally, but to actually watch it over again and hear what they say, and say with authority, and NBC and ABC and CBS, the big networks, and their reporters speaking as if they're authoritative about these issues when in fact they're just spinning and spewing propaganda. It was unbelievable. And so when we have a Russian armada come within 30, 40 miles of the Florida East Coast on its way to Cuba to make a statement, including a nuclear sub, it shows that they just don't give a damn. They are not afraid of Biden in the least. Now, the fact of the matter is, all the people who are pretending that Biden is cogent and coherent, that he's not suffering from a mental malady, are putting our entire country at risk. It's a provocation when your president is an imbecile. It is a provocation. And our enemies are poised to act. On his watch, Russia invaded Ukraine. On his watch, Iran's going to have a nuclear weapon, whether they announce it or not. And we can go down the list. It's really quite stunning. And our military has its hands tied, is underfunded. And so nobody's talking about this. It's absolutely shocking to me. And you can see the ships. I'm looking at the New York Post, how close they are to our coast. It's like, screw you. We don't give a damn what you think or what you say. It's the way the Iranians treat us now. They said, the more terrorism we unleash, the more money we get from Biden and Blinken. It's the damnedest thing. They're thinking that over there. The Islamo-Nazis, they're thinking, okay, the more we press Israel, the more we fire missiles, the more we provide missiles to Hezbollah and armaments to Hamas and all the rest of it, the more money we get from Biden and Blinken. Pretty sick, don't you think? Yeah, it's very sick, as a matter of fact. Blinken. It appears that Hamas has turned down the deal. They treat Hamas like it's some kind of legitimate state or legitimate authority. It's a terrorist organization. And so the Biden regime props it up as a negotiating partner. Of course, we negotiate through others, like Qatar, a terrorist regime, like Egypt, a military dictatorship. We prop them up. Okay, they come as they come. But that said, we're negotiating with a terrorist organization as if they're reliable. Do you know why they're called terrorists? It's because they don't fight fair, quote unquote. They don't wear the uniforms. They don't do this. They're called terrorists, not combatants. They're terrorists. So Blinken, he's with the Qatari Prime Minister, Al Thani. They're all inbreds. It's all a phony country. Doesn't matter. So Blinken's with this guy today, and there's a news conference in Doha, Qatar. The level of idiocy, naivete, of buffoonery is beyond belief. Listen to this. Cut 2, go.
The longer this goes on, and remember, Hamas had this for 12 days, and it's not as if the world stood still in those 12 days. People were suffering throughout those 12 days. The longer this goes on, the more people will suffer. And it's time for the haggling to stop and the ceasefire to start. It's as simple as that. Look, Israel accepted the proposal as it was and as it is. Hamas didn't. So I think it's pretty clear what needs to happen. And we're determined in the coming days to, again, try to work this. We will work this with urgency and see if the gaps that are workable, we can actually work and bring it to conclusion. And then it may be that Hamas continues to say no. Well, I think it will be clear to everyone around the world that it's on them and that they will have made a choice to continue a war that they started.
Oh, okay. That'll prove it's on them. What a dumb bastard this guy is, Mr. Producer. It's just so preposterous. Oh, then it'll be clear it's on them. It is on them, you jerk. Now, he must have read this piece in the Wall Street Journal that I read to you yesterday. No? Quote, we have the Israelis right where we want them, Sinwar said in a message to Hamas officials. In dozens of messages reviewed by the Wall Street Journal that Sinwar has transmitted to ceasefire negotiators, Hamas compatriots outside Gaza and others, he's shown a cold disregard for human life, made clear he believes Israel has more to lose from the war than Hamas. And that how he views the deaths of civilians as a badge of honor, is necessary. As necessary. And everybody read this? You didn't hear almost anything about this in the major propaganda networks in America. But Blinken's read this. I'm sure he has. And he's there. Look, if they don't agree, it's on them. It's on them, you idiot. Not only has it always been on them, but look how they consider victory. The more civilians dead, the better. They're terrorists. That's what they are. Cut 3, Mr. Producer. Here he is again with the Qatari terrorist leader. Go.
You know, at some point in a negotiation, and this has gone back and forth for a long time, you get to a point where if one side continues to change its demands, including making demands and insisting on changes for things that it already accepted, you have to question whether they're proceeding in good faith or not. But based on what we've seen and what I've discussed with the Prime Minister and what we've discussed with our Egyptian colleagues, we're determined to try to bridge the gaps. And I believe those gaps are bridgeable. Doesn't mean they will be bridged because, again, it ultimately depends on people saying yes.
He's such a damnable clown, such a buffoon. We're dealing with terrorists. Let's say they say yes. Let's say they sign a piece of paper. What does it matter? That's not their mindset. Their mindset is, if they think it's for them, they think it'll advance their cause, they'll sign the paper. If they think it won't, they won't sign the paper. And you see what you did, Blinken, you and Biden. You've been their special pleaders. You've been defending their mayhem by blaming it on the Israelis. You've made it clear that you, if you have your way, are not going to permit the Israelis to win. You've made all of this clear to Hamas. So why should they sign a piece of paper? And again, if they sign a piece of paper, that's because they view it as a head fake. They've signed plenty of pieces of paper. All of them have. And yet here we are today. Do you know the United States has poured billions of dollars into Gaza over the years? Billions. And what have we gotten for it? Nothing. We've been funding Hamas and terrorists. This guy Blinken is as dumb as a doorknob. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, the war on our justice system, the vicious assault on President Trump, has sent our nation into uncharted waters. And trust me when I say things are going to get worse before they get better. I truly believe that. The political turmoil and uncertainty that lie ahead could have severe consequences for our economy and financial markets. But in times of crisis, there's always opportunity. And right now, I see that opportunity in diversification with gold and silver. As these tensions rise and the dollar's future becomes increasingly uncertain, gold has the potential to go even higher. That's why I trust Advantage Gold. They're experts at helping Americans take steps to help safeguard their wealth with precious metals. Call them right now. 800-900-8000. Don't wait. Get their free 2024 gold and silver kit, plus a special Mark Levin discount worth up to $1,300 if you qualify. The future may be unpredictable, but your financial security doesn't have to be. So call Advantage Gold right now. 800-900-8000. There's no risk. There's no pressure. That's 800-900-8000. Get your special Mark Levin discount worth up to $1,300 for qualified customers today. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. Yes, we're here. We be here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Biden needs a week to prepare for a debate. Yeah, they view this as everything. I've got a few ideas on this debate, and I'm going to save them for a little later, share them with you. But I have a few ideas. It's always good to have a couple one-liners, and it's always good to try and figure out what they're going to say. We already know that Biden's going to try and put words in Trump's mouth about everything. He's put it to the test on his various speeches. You know, he says he's going to be a dictator. He says he's going to abandon the Constitution. He says he's for retribution, you know, to put Trump on his heels immediately. And, of course, the so-called moderators, who are not moderators, they're buffoons and fools, like Jake Tappat and Dana Bash. I think those are the two. They're a tag team of leftists. That's what they are. So it'll be Trump against three, one against three. But there's some statements and liners that he can use and so forth, as well as substantive things. And the goal is to put Joe Biden on his heels. And when you start citing some numbers to Joe and talk about what he's done to the middle class and so forth and so on, Joe will have difficulty with that. But we'll develop this more down the road. I'll be right back. My fellow Americans, the phony conviction of Donald Trump has sent a clear message. Our country is in deep trouble. Our rule of law is under attack, and the integrity of our elections may well be in jeopardy. In times of political chaos like this, it's crucial to protect your wealth and secure your financial future. That's where my good friends at Advantage Gold come in. Please call them now. 800-900-8000. Get their free 2024 gold and silver kit to help protect your money against times like these with physical precious metals. Plus, tell them I sent you, and they'll give you a special Mark Levin discount worth up to $1,300 if you qualify. No one can predict the future, but you can prepare for it. Call Advantage Gold today. 800-900-8000. Get your free gold and silver kit right now. Plus, Mark Levin discount worth up to $1,300 for qualified customers today. 800-900-8000. Give it a try. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professionals.
Mark Levin, the champion of liberty and true conservatism. Call Mark now. 877-381-3811.
Well, the media have been, of course, fronting for Joe Biden. And they're going on and on about how respectful he is to the legal system and the justice system, regardless of the outcome with his son there. Did you notice that, Mr. Producer? We had a conga line of propagandists and demagogues in the Democrat media making comparisons with Trump. Of course, the cases, one has nothing to do with the other. But word is now getting out. We look at our friends Breitbart. President Joe Biden reportedly believes that Hunter Biden is a victim of the weaponization of justice following his gun conviction the other day. That would be yesterday. A Delaware jury found Hunter guilty of all 3 gun charges. He faces up to 25 years in prison and $750,000 in fines. He faces nothing. I'll explain that momentarily. Biden pledged last week in France he would not pardon Hunter. He has not, however, spoken about whether he would deliver a commutation. President feels guilty over Hunter's legal predicament. 2 people not authorized to speak publicly had private conversations about Hunter, told Politico. They also told Politico Joe Biden believes he contributed to Hunter's plight. Quote, if I weren't running for re-election, he would have gotten the plea deal, Biden told a confidant earlier this month. Person familiar with the conversation told Politico. Now, Politico is in Joe Biden's back pocket. So Biden wants this to get out. But he doesn't want his fingerprints directly on it. So he does it with somebody else. Remember, former FBI director pulled the same stunt. They all do this. So they can actually say, I didn't leak. But Joe Biden leaks, and he leaks a lot. That's why he wears Depends, Mr. Producer. Now, that aside, Hunter had a great plea deal. The judge said no. Then they offered him another great plea deal, and Hunter and his sharp lawyer, they said no. Abby Lowell. But none of this matters. And why doesn't it matter? Because after the election, he will be pardoned. That's why. It's that simple. I'm telling you because there's no question in my mind about it. And he'll be praised for it. Father to son. You know how that goes. Won't be a conflict. Not nepotism. No. It'll be, that's a father looking out for his son. That's all. Now, what is a commutation versus a pardon? The difference between a commutation and a pardon is generally simple. Commutation is a reduction, either total or partial, of a criminal sentence. A pardon is a complete grant of relief and an expunging of the record. You see? That's the big difference. Let me try it again. The commutation doesn't clean the record or eliminate the guilty verdict. It just commutes the sentence. Could commute it to nothing, to time served, or not even time served in Hunter's case. A pardon is effectively a legal whitewashing. Or a legal, that's not the right phrase, whitewashing. A way to legally eliminate what has taken place. Pretty much that's the way that works. pardon cleans it all up. If you were convicted, well, you may have been convicted, but you're not viewed as having been convicted anymore. Commutation is you're convicted and we basically commute your sentence. We reduce the sentence. You can reduce it to nothing. That's the difference. But let's go on. Hunter refused to accept a gun-related plea, writes Breitbart correctly, from the government in 2023. The offer of the gun plea came after his sweetheart plea blew up under judicial scrutiny, which the judge characterized as atypical and not straightforward. And legal experts suggest the government's proposal was a show of favoritism towards the president's son. I don't think we need legal experts to tell us that. And this sweetheart deal came with a special agreement that gave Hunter immunity from all potential future charges, including a provision to potentially wipe out the felony gun violation from his record. And the deal gave Hunter the option to plead guilty to not paying taxes on more than $1.5 million in income in 2017 and 2018, receiving probation rather than jail time. And following the sweetheart plea deal debacle, the government offered Hunter a second plea deal related to gun charges that he also rejected, opting to go to trial in Delaware. And so the media don't really lay any of this out. They just say, you know, this is a real sad story. I mean, the government was pleading with him to take a deal. Pleading with him. Now, this tax trial is set for September 2024. That is the coming few months. I'm sure they'll offer him a deal then. We'll see what he does with that. But the fact of the matter is, Joe Biden thinks this was all terrible. The weaponization of the justice system. Now, what are the media going to do with that? They're going to ignore it, or they'll do a hit and run. They'll mention it. But they've built Joe up, you know, to be Mahatma Gandhi, Mother Teresa, all in one. But he's not. He's low-life, street politician, crazy Joe Biden, who will do anything. Anything to enrich himself, anything for power, and the same with his family. Now, Meritless Garland was voted by House Republicans. They voted to hold him in contempt of Congress because he declined to turn over subpoenaed audio of Biden's interview with special counsel Robert Hur. Now, that audio must be so damning, must be so horrendous for Biden and Biden's people and Biden's campaign, that here you have a man, Meritless Garland, who has no problem with being held in contempt by the Republicans in the House because they'll just dismiss it, and has, as a political ploy. But they've concocted some kind of privilege that doesn't exist. He went to Biden, and Biden signed off on it because Biden has to assert the privilege to prevent the audio from being made available to Congress. In other words, the purpose is to prevent us, we the people, from hearing the audio. And Garland's argument is there's no legislative purpose. You can't just be making demands for stuff from the executive branch. No, that's the wrong way. That's the other way around. That's ass backwards. You can't just assert and concoct fictions, privileges, to prevent the release of information to Congress and demand that they have a legislative purpose. They do have a legislative purpose anyway. What is it? They're conducting an impeachment inquiry as I speak. And they may want to know if they have to remove him because he's an imbecile, because he can't act. Or they may want to look at potentially proposing another amendment to the Constitution to the states. Why? Because, as I told Andy McCarthy, and as we talked about 2 weeks ago, the 25th Amendment's a dead letter. The 25th Amendment relies on the Vice President of the United States and cabinet officers to act when a president can't. The Vice President of the United States and the people serving directly under Biden, they know he's incapable of doing the work of the presidency. He's incapable of it. Is there another position in the private sector anywhere where anyone would hire Joe Biden to do anything? Would you hire him as your accountant? No. As your lawyer? He's a lawyer. No way. If you're a restaurant, would you hire him as a waiter? No. He wouldn't remember orders. He wouldn't remember who's who. He'd be tripping and falling and dropping the food. You wouldn't hire him as a waiter. Could he work at a gas station in New Jersey where you can't fill up the tank on your own? There has to be some kind of an attendant. You give him your credit card. He'd be staring at it. I want $9.50 of the unleaded, please. 89. 89, not 88. I want 89, the number 89. Think he could get that right? Think he'd remember that? Why do you think he has to take a week off to prepare for the debate? Because they have to drill in him like 10 things that they want him to remember to go on the attack against Trump. And that's what they're going to tell him. Attack, 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 and attack again. No. So there's many reasons why the Republicans would want the audio tape. And moreover, even if there was a privilege issue, and there's no privilege issue, they waived it. They gave him the text, even though they altered some of it by taking out the stuff that's clear that the guys lost it. You know, that kind of stuff. So they will have waived any privilege, even though there is no privilege. They don't have a leg to stand on, but they know if it's litigated, if the House sues them, well, they have their favorite judges populating the D.C. courts, and it clearly won't be resolved till well after the election. They're denying you and me the ability to hear Joe Biden questioned for several hours in a row on 2 days. Because they don't want you and me to hear him. They're breaking their asses to protect him from us. Whether it's having press events, whether it's walking to and fro from the elevator, from the helicopter, maybe the elevator too. The entire debate, 3 against 1, has to be these left-wing networks with these Democrat goons as the moderators. I would be surprised if Fake Tapper and Dana Slash, if there's already back-channeling going on. Why wouldn't there be? They are one and the same. They're rooting for the same party. You got George Stephanopoulos going on CNN and telling CNN, ask the first question. What's the first question, George? Who won the last election? Who won the last election? That's the question. We already know Trump's answer. It doesn't matter. They're not there to have substantive policy debates. They're there to play gotcha and to make Trump look as bad as they can. So that's why they picked this CNN, and CNN in turn picked their 2 favorite Trump-hating, Biden-ass-kissing hosts. So for 1 week, he has to study. But there's Meritless Garland. We have a Republican, Dave Joyce, in Ohio, who voted no because he's smarter than everybody else. It was a 216 to 207 vote. Numerous members privately voiced concern over backing the measure, writes The Hill, leaving Republicans' priority lingering for nearly a month. The Republican raised their thing. Look how it's all inside baseball. Why was he held in contempt? He was held in contempt because he's contemptible. That's why. This is a cover-up. And every single Democrat and 1 Republican voted for the cover-up. Democrats argue the move was an effort to aid an imploding impeachment probe. So whether it's imploding or not, whether it'll get anything done or not, they've just given the Republicans one of the reasons why they want the information. And it's certainly a legitimate legislative purpose. It's right there in the Constitution. It's called impeachment. So Jerry Connolly, he's the stupid-looking moron who represents Fairfax County, Virginia. It's a putz. So he goes out and he says, they just want this to aid in an imploding impeachment probe. Okay, fine. That's absolutely a constitutional basis. Take his words down. Not to punish him, but to use them against against Garland. Biden claimed executive privilege over the tapes, and an internal Justice Department opinion obtained by the Hill ahead of the vote indicates the department considers that a valid legal basis for sidestepping the subpoena. So they leaked it to the Hill, which has become increasingly left-wing. Jim Jordan suggested Biden may have kept classified information to help him write his memoir. There's no question about that. In fact, he got $8 million for his memoir, and that's when he conveyed information to the ghostwriter that was classified. So basically, as I argue, he sold classified information for $8 million. Garland's argument that if he releases the audio, that'll make it difficult for the Department of Justice to get witnesses in the future or potential defendants to cooperate. That doesn't even make any sense. He just released the text. Doesn't even make any sense. But the cover-up continues. The whole goal is to get Biden reelected and to protect him from you and me. This is a war against us, the American people. That's what it is. The changing of the voting systems in state after state with their little putz attorney, Mark Elias, out there, the slip-and-fall ambulance chasing buffoon. They're radical judges that they have populated our federal courts with, over 200 now. The war against Trump, the effort to imprison him and keep him off the campaign trail. We can go on and on and on, and this is just a piece of it. Make sure the American people do not hear what their president had to say in an interview, an audio. Amazing, Mr. Producer. Remember that shocked look on Bill Clinton's face when they released part of the grand jury testimony to the public about the cigar? Remember that, Mr. Producer? There was no privilege claim for that. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, the war on our justice system, the vicious assault on President Trump, has sent our nation into uncharted waters. And trust me when I say things are going to get worse before they get better. I truly believe that. The political turmoil and uncertainty that lie ahead could have severe consequences for our economy and financial markets. But in times of crisis, there's always opportunity. And right now, I see that opportunity in diversification with gold and silver. As these tensions rise and the dollar's future becomes increasingly uncertain, gold has the potential to go even higher. That's why I trust Advantage Gold. They're experts at helping Americans take steps to help safeguard their wealth with precious metals. Call them right now. 800-900-8000. Don't wait. Get their free 2024 gold and silver kit, plus a special Mark Levin discount worth up to $1,300 if you qualify. The future may be unpredictable, but your financial security doesn't have to be. So call Advantage Gold right now. 800-900-8000. There's no risk. There's no pressure. That's 800-900-8000. Get your special Mark Levin discount worth up to $1,300 for qualified customers today. Performance may vary. You should always consult your financial and tax professional. The war on Donald Trump, which continues now, the Democrat Attorney General of New Jersey is looking to take his liquor licenses away from apparently 3 golf clubs he has in New Jersey. And, of course, the effort to sentence him and these other cases, we all know what's going on. Our political system, our campaign system, we the people, our republic, are under attack. Things are swirling around, and I don't believe they're going to get better anytime soon. I'll be right back. This segment of the podcast is exclusively sponsored by Pure Talk. Pure Talk offers great coverage and can save your family money on your wireless bill every single month. Go to puretalk.com to find the plan that's right for you. Thank you again for listening, and thank you so much for this sponsorship, Pure Talk.
He's here. He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our number, 877-381-3811, 877-381-3811. By the way, I'm very excited about a guest we have in hour 3. He's a great patriot. He's doing yeoman's work in supporting and honoring the young individuals who decide to volunteer for the United States military. And I don't know what the military, this country, would do without this gentleman. His name is Ken Hartman. And he founded a group called Our Community Salutes. And Our Community Salutes, on really a very thin budget with volunteers, holds these very patriotic events honoring the young people who are going into service and their families. And my wife has gotten involved in this. And so I said to her last week, let's bring Ken on the program. This is very, very important what he's doing. There's no government money involved. And there are other fantastic people who have, as they've watched these events and gone to these events, who are now participating in them. Pete Hegseth, Alan West, many others. Many others. So I want you to hear from Ken Hartman, a great patriot. He quietly is doing this his own time, on his own dime. He's not a wealthy man. He's a great patriot. He's pulled this together. And I want to talk to him with you so he can explain to you what they're doing and how they're doing it. It's a very positive thing that he's doing, and I just think it needs the kind of attention that it deserves. 8 ISIS terrorists came into the country. They split up. They went to L.A., Philadelphia, and New York. They came over the border during the Biden open border. Thank God they were found, they were tracked. But it's simply not possible to find and track all of them. And Joe Biden, his worst offense is opening the people of this country to terrorist attacks, something that is completely avoidable in terms of securing the border. The FBI director likes to warn us about it. I don't know what we're supposed to do about it, you and I. We're not in charge of the government. They are. That's their job. So why is he warning us? Why isn't he banging down the door of the President of the United States, whether it's in Wilmington, Rehoboth, or Washington, and making it abundantly clear to him? So what about these people coming across the border? I mean, out of the 12 million, you think there's only 8, America? Think there's only 8 out of the 12 million who've come across the border? And the brainiacs now want to ship people from Gaza into the United States? You think that's smart? And their answer is always the same thing. Oh, you must be racist. So common sense now is racism. I don't know. How many minorities in this country think it's a good idea to have an open border where ISIS can come through and Hamas can come through and Hezbollah can come through and a whole alphabet soup of terrorist organizations? Tell me, was it only white people who were murdered on 9/11? I don't think so. Every neighborhood in the country is affected by what's taking place, regardless of race. So these white liberals and these black liberals, they're on TV, they're the same Democrats, trashing away, sliming away, anything for Biden, anything for party, anything for power. Well, the rest of the country, all races, backgrounds, faiths, sexes, whatever, are harmed by this. Even if you're not physically attacked or threatened, you're harmed by this. The workforce and wages are harmed by this. The welfare state is cracking. It's breaking. Our medical system, our hospitals can't handle it. Law enforcement can't handle it. The system's being overwhelmed. And that's what the Marxists want. Pivens. It's what it is. And so Jean-Pierre is on the Air Force One today. And there's this exchange. Cut 5, go.
The executive actions last week, over the last 24 hours, there have been a number of reports about suspected terrorists at ports of entry, and then also a sting operation where suspected ISIS terrorists were collected throughout the United States. Do you guys believe so far that the executive actions are working, or is there going to be another announcement down the line with more to do?
So a couple of things. DHS put out a joint statement, so I would refer you to that statement on that particular
that's
question.
amazing to me. We had 8 ISIS operatives in the country, and she's referring you to a statement and to the Department of Justice. These are Biden's policies. And she's referring you to a statement and the Department of Justice. That's how unserious these people are. They're so dangerous. I'm talking about the White House. Go ahead.
That you just asked me about those 8, I believe there were 8 individuals. And we're also grateful for the law enforcement for their quick...
They're grateful for the law enforcement. They got. Is this a joke? Law enforcement shouldn't have to be doing this. These people should be stopped at the border. And so now we're going to get into the lectures, and now they're going to turn it against the Republicans, and now they're going to say we're not spending enough money while the country's about to go into a massive debt slide, and they'll blame that on everybody but themselves. Go ahead.
Sure that we keep Americans safe. This is another example of why we think some calls from Republicans to defund the FBI.
Okay, this has nothing to do with defunding the FBI. This just happened. This just happened. How did they get in the country? You said the border was secured. Well, that's because we had bipartisan legislation, that the Republicans prevented. They've got an answer to everything. It's called a lie. A damnable lie. They're psychopaths. They cannot stop lying because the country's collapsing as a result of their policies. This is called the fundamental transformation of America. They used to brag about it. Well, this is what it looks like, America. This is what it looks like under a Democrat president. This is what it looks like under Democrat media. This is what it looks like. Go ahead.
Bad idea. It's troublesome. And so we'll continue to call that out as well. But again, DHS and DOJ put out a statement, a joint statement, so I would refer you to that. As it relates to the executive action the president did
I'm sorry, it was a joint statement, Mr. Producer, so it must be very important. So she'll refer us to that. Are we all going to go look at the joint statement? Of course not. Is the president going to make a statement about the 8 ISIS perpetrators who got into our country? No. Isn't that important? Yes. Isn't the Russian nuclear sub off the east coast of Florida, isn't that worth a statement? Yes. I refer you to the Department of Defense. They issued a statement on this, and the Department of State, a joint statement, so it's a big deal. I refer you to that. Go ahead.
Just to take a step back just for a second, this is a president that has taken the issue of what we're seeing at the border, the immigration system being broken very seriously. I mean, very, very seriously. That's why he put out a comprehensive legislation on day one.
Oh, he put out comprehensive legislation to destroy the immigration system. Ladies and gentlemen, the immigration system is not broken. The people will not enforce the immigration system. The immigration system is fine. It's the people who suck. That's the truth. And so, of course, this is just another red flag going up, a flare. 8 ISIS terrorists caught in 3 of our cities, New York, Philadelphia, and L.A. And the best she can do is say, see, the Republicans want to cut the FBI's budget. Most Republicans don't. But they are sick and tired of the abuses of the FBI on behalf of the Democrats and Biden, and before that, Obama. And that is a serious matter that deserves serious attention and needs to be fixed ASAP. So that's number one. But number two, this is what you get from the White House. Refer you to this statement and that statement, and it's the Republicans' fault? I'm telling you what they're going to do. They're going to talk about Joe Biden pushing them to sign this legislation, which would have done X, Y, Z. They treat it like it's some kind of magic bullet, this document, this bill, which was a disaster. It would not have stopped these 8 ISIS operatives from coming into the United States. Why? Because it built into the bill thousands and thousands of illegal aliens coming into the country every single day. Upwards of 2 million a year. And they act like this would have fixed it. Just secure the damn border. There shouldn't be 2 million illegal aliens coming in every year, let alone 1 million, let alone 1,000. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Did you know one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in Pure Talk's parking lot? To honor that flag, Pure Talk is supporting America's Warrior Partnership in their mission to prevent veteran suicide. For our servicemen and women, the transition to civilian life can be very difficult, especially now. Access to housing, employment, and even their earned VA benefits can be very difficult. That's where America Warriors Partnership steps in by providing real support where and when our vets need it most. And you can help this noble cause when you switch to Pure Talk's 5G service and support this great charity. Through Flag Day, they'll match every dollar donated up to $50,000. Choose a wireless company that shares your values and puts you on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/LEVIN to make the switch. That's puretalk.com/Levin for superior cell phone service. That's half the price of Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, and to help Pure Talk with vets in need. Don't you find it interesting, America, that the Democrats and their Marxist and Islamist base hate this country? They're always talking about fundamentally transforming it. They trash our history. They trash our history books. They trash our founders and our framers. They pull down our monuments and statues. They claim the Constitution was written to enshrine white privilege, that the Declaration of Independence and its reference to God is a heretical document of sorts. And then they accuse you and me and the people we support of opposing democracy. They're in the streets demanding the elimination of our country, the elimination of parts of the Constitution, demanding that we surrender our individual liberty to groupthink, constantly looking for ways to break through the barriers the Constitution has built to protect us from them, going back and forth between mobocracy and centralized tyranny. They'll do either or they'll do both simultaneously. But notice, they never advance the cause of individual liberty. When, where, and how. They don't even talk about it. They talk about equity, a Marxist term. They never talk about liberty. When is the last time they did? They don't. You and I defend the Electoral College. They want to destroy it. You and I defend the independence of the Supreme Court, even though we have severe problems from time to time with it. They want to destroy it. You and I believe in national sovereignty, secure our border, promote our culture. E pluribus unum. From many one, not from one many. They oppose all of it. They hate the American flag. They prefer other flags, rainbow flags, Palestinian flags, anything but the American flag. They trash our law enforcement. They trash our military. The list is a long one. They poison our culture. They attack the nuclear family. They attack faith. Certain faith, of course, the Islamists embrace what they embrace, but certain faiths, the Judeo-Christian faiths. They hate free speech unless it's used to protect their violence. They hate the Second Amendment unless it can be used against us. They hate due process and equal protection in our courts unless, of course, they're the ones being prosecuted. They used the Constitution to destroy the Constitution. They took the 14th Amendment to try and prevent Donald Trump from even being on state ballots. Shocking, isn't it? They used the Commerce Clause, which is supposed to promote commerce between and among the states and foreign governments, to kill commerce. Their interpretation of the Commerce Clause has created this massive bureaucracy that will now eliminate the automobile as we know it and many of your appliances in your homes, as well as choke off our energy supplies. Did you vote for that? No. Did Congress vote for that? No. Doesn't matter. Commerce Clause. So rather than promoting commerce, they're destroying commerce. That's what they do with the Constitution. They appoint judges. Judges who are activists, who don't believe in the Constitution, who believe they're bigger than the law. And boy, you better honor what that judge says, even if that judge doesn't honor the law. Why should I honor a judge who doesn't honor the law? And yet they say it's you and me, we. We're trying to defend what's left of this republic. We, who love the Constitution and the Declaration, who honor the people who founded this great nation, the benefits of which all the haters, revolutionaries, Marxists, Islamists, and their ilk are able to use to try and destroy us. They don't leave the country. No. They don't go to these heavens on earth. Communist China, Communist Cuba, Communist Venezuela, Islamist Iran. No. Islamist Syria, Islamist the whole damn Middle East, but for the Jewish state. They don't go back. No. Why? We all know why. Bernie Sanders is a Marxist who loves Moscow, but he doesn't live in Moscow. Why is that? I go on and on. And same with their mouthpieces in the media. Like Rachel Madcow. Rachel Madcow's a clown. A Marxist. A soft Marxist, but a Marxist nonetheless. She wants to fundamentally transform America. She lies to her audience. She's a conspiracy theorist. Pushed that Russia collusion crap from day one. It's a woman who works, I think, 1 day a week, makes like $30 million. Did I read that correctly, Mr. Producer? Or $15 million or something? Hates capitalism, but slobbers in it. I want you to hear what she has to say. Because, you know, you and I, we're the ones who are a danger to this republic. They're the ones, of course, who are promoting it. I'll be right back. Did you know one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in Pure Talk's parking lot? To honor that flag, Pure Talk is supporting America's Warrior Partnership in their mission to prevent veteran suicide. For our servicemen and women, the transition to civilian life can be very difficult, especially now. Access to housing, employment, and even their earned VA benefits can be very difficult. That's where America Warriors Partnership steps in by providing real support where and when our vets need it most. And you can help this noble cause when you switch to Pure Talk's 5G service and support this great charity. Through Flag Day, they'll match every dollar donated up to $50,000. Choose a wireless company that shares your values and puts you on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/LEVIN to make the switch. That's puretalk.com/Levin for superior cell phone service. That's half the price of Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, and to help Pure Talk with vets in need.
Mark Levin, the George S. Patton of Talk Radio. Call him at 877-381-3811. That's 877-381-3811.
The manipulation of language and thought, the perverse and obtuse use of quote-unquote values and morality that are redefined in the name of the state or a state of mind is what we're experiencing on MSNBC, CNN, and all the rest of the trash out there. It's what it is. It's trash. And so, before the break, I was getting into all this for a reason. I want you to hear Rachel Maddow on MSNBC yesterday. You see, ladies and gentlemen, I don't play clips to kill time. I play clips to make a point. A point. A broader point. A more substantive point about what's happening to the country. Not just who's involved and why these people are reprobates, although they're that. And I'm happy to call them what they are. But the manipulation, the strategy and the tactics, how this is working, and how this is illustrative of totalitarian mindsets. It's important. It's right in front of us. And while some people will just shake their head and attack it, you got to do more than shake your head and attack. What exactly is taking place here? So here's Rachel Maddow on MSNBC. Watch how she twists the system, just the way the spokes idiot for the idiot in the Oval Office, they always have the same response, which is if it's something negative, not to answer it substantively, and then immediately blame Trump or the Republicans or somebody they view as an opponent, an adversary, or even an enemy. Here's Maddow, cut 6, go.
Trump screed, that there's something about the justice system that is skewed against them and is designed to help Democrats. I mean, I think we know in our heads that hasn't been a good faith critique, but a day like today should disprove it, right? If they were arguing on a rational basis that was based on facts. It's not based on facts. It's just designed as an attack against the American system of government, because they're running against the American system of government. And it is really not about the facts of any individual case, including those against Trump.
So you and I are running against the government. They support the government. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a twist on words. You and I support constitutional government. That's what patriotism's all about. We support our society. We support our history. We support our culture. We support our Constitution, which creates this constitutional government by definition. We reject tyranny. We reject the abuse of power. We reject a massive leviathan that violates representative government and issues fiats and imposes rules and laws that affect our everyday lives. The cost of our appliances, the cost of food, the cost of fuel, our individual freedoms. This is what we reject. It's not that we reject government. We support a constitutional government. We support the government that's laid out in the Constitution. We reject the manipulation of government to manipulate us, to attack our liberties. And so we challenge it. We attack it. The media used to do this job. Now we have to do it without the media. The media is on the other side of this. Here we have counter-revolutionaries, Marxists and Islamists. They want to destroy the country. We don't want to destroy the country. We want to protect the country. and her snide, sarcastic, sniveling little noises and so forth, Rachel Maddow, condescending and elitist. But she's not elite in any respect. Not in terms of intelligence, her knowledge of history, philosophy, everyday events. She's an idiot. She's a mouthpiece. She's an ideologue of the left. They're not supporting democracy. They don't even get the word right, but we'll play along. They're not supporting the Constitution and what it means and the people who wrote it, adopted it, and ratified it. They reject it. They're not supporting American sovereignty, which is an organized immigration system to the extent that the people in the country, the citizenry, wants one. So we're defending constitutional government. We're not going to defend tyrannical government. The imposition of executive orders, of regulatory fiats as constitutional, as legitimate. We're not going to take to the streets like the other side does, and they should be thankful for that, quite frankly. Because we don't believe in that. We have a stake in this society. We have families. We own property. We own homes. That's who we are. We're not rioters. We're not hoodlums. We don't burn down buildings. Of course, there's nut jobs. I'm not talking about that. There's tens of millions of us. Tens of millions of us. Now, we're the ones that participate in patriotic parades on July 4th. We're the ones who put our hands over our heart and say the Pledge of Allegiance or sing the national anthem. We're the ones who go to the military cemeteries. We're the ones who defend the cops and defend military personnel. We're the ones who stand up for the people who founded this nation and the Constitution. That's us. We don't need lectures from anybody on MSNBC. A corrupt corporate enterprise. A propaganda arm for the enemies of America, domestic and foreign. That's what MSNBC is. That's what CNN is. They don't root for America. They don't believe in the American system. They don't believe in the Constitution. They reveal themselves every day. We're not deaf, dumb, and blind. We see it, we hear it, we smell it. We watch them on TV. We listen to them. We see who they are and what they are. We watch them slobber all over Bernie Sanders and AOC. We watch them slobber all over Hamas and the Hitler Youth while they're trashing Israel. And virtually silent while Jews are running for their lives in the streets and in college campuses. We watch them trash any minority, black, Hispanic, Asian, who dares to speak out for liberty, who dares to embrace this society. Read American Marxism. They have names for minorities like this. Books that sell very well on the left. Books that are assigned as textbooks in our colleges and our universities. You know what they call Hispanics? Who are patriotic Americans? They are ideologically and psychologically white. It's what they write about them. It's in the book. They're not really Hispanics. They're just part of that loathsome white race. We don't need lectures from people like Rachel Maddow or anybody on MSNBC. Not a damn one of them. Here's Joy Reid. She has no business being on TV, let alone primetime, given what she wrote about gays, about Jews, even about other blacks, and her lies to cover it up, And Joy, you can come on this program and defend yourself any day of the week. I'm here. You're tough when you're by yourself and you have your mouthpiece guests. Why don't you debate me? Why don't you confront me? Let's have at it. You and the other dolts over there. Cut 7, go.
Is this the lack of sort of decency on the
You know about that, Joy. That's your definition in the dictionary next to Joy Reid. Lack of decency. Perfect, but go ahead.
Because you have, in the case of Hunter Biden, somebody who's obviously had deep problems with drugs.
So all of a sudden they make excuses for somebody who illegally buys a gun. All the gun controllers. Somebody who illegally buys a gun. He's doped up. His lover, who happens to be the ex-wife of his brother who tragically died from brain cancer, had cocaine residue on it. Don't people understand the love of a father for his son? Yes, we do. We fathers understand that. What we don't understand are the excuses that are made for a doped up punk, sleazeball, who treats women like dirt, pays for prostitutes one after another, buys a gun illegally, lies on his form to the government. Joy Reid, it's our fault that we criticize this. It's our fault that we notice. It's our fault that he's being prosecuted and convicted. It's our fault. It's the Republican Party's fault. She is sicker than sick and getting sicker by the day. Go ahead.
Life. He comes from a background that's full of tragedy, and yet here's his family surrounding him with love. President Biden's statement is actually quite kind, and it's very fatherly.
There you
and
go,
sweet.
ladies and gentlemen. There you go. It's very sweet, President Biden, who's never talked to his 5-year-old granddaughter, never met her. Very sweet. He's still dissing her. Still dissing her. Very sweet that the mother of his granddaughter contemplated suicide on multiple occasions. Very sweet, right, Joy? You're a fraud and a phony and a fink. Get out of here, you jerk. You don't belong in the media. Well, actually, you do. MSNBC is where all the reprobates go. And CNN. You're where you belong. I'm sorry. Stay there. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Did you know one of the largest U.S. flags in the state of Georgia stands proudly in Pure Talk's parking lot? To honor that flag, Pure Talk is supporting America's Warrior Partnership in their mission to prevent veteran suicide. For our servicemen and women, the transition to civilian life can be very difficult, especially now. Access to housing, employment, and even their earned VA benefits can be very difficult. That's where America Warriors Partnership steps in by providing real support where and when our vets need it most. And you can help this noble cause when you switch to Pure Talk's 5G service and support this great charity. Through Flag Day, they'll match every dollar donated up to $50,000. Choose a wireless company that shares your values and puts you on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. Go to puretalk.com/Levin. That's puretalk.com/LEVIN to make the switch. That's puretalk.com/Levin for superior cell phone service. That's half the price of Verizon, AT&T, or T-Mobile, and to help Pure Talk with vets in need. You know, I don't want to overload you with these clips, but I just feel like these are learning and teaching moments for both of us, because we're faced with this stuff every day. I got this little jerk, Jared Moskowitz. Maybe he'll be the last one I do, but he's on there with Joy Reid. How much time do I have, Rich? Well, let me do it this way. I won't play it. Jared Moskowitz is this little twit from Florida. He says on the Joy Reid program there is something that did, or should I say did not happen, Joy, in this case of Hunter Biden. You didn't see members of Congress going to the courthouse, standing with Hunter, in their men's warehouse suits, What's wrong with the Men's Warehouse suit, Mr. Producer? What's with this punk? Where does he get his suits? Goodwill? I mean, I don't know. Get them wherever you get them. Holding press conferences. I don't wear suits unless I have to, by the way. No Democrat is called to defund the FBI or defund the DOJ. No. The Democrats have destroyed the FBI and the DOJ, and they're defunding local law enforcement. Let's not play games here. That's why I say I got to undo this. And as for Republicans going to the trial in Manhattan and no Democrats showing up in Wilmington, I can tell you the difference. One was a Stalinist star chamber, and the other was an honest-to-goodness federal court with a real judge, with real rules of evidence, with real procedures, notice of the crimes. That's that case. The other case is an acting state judge and a Soros prosecutor where we don't know the crimes, where the state crimes, such as they are, have already expired, and a judge that's interfering in the election. Moskowitz, you little... I'll be right back.
He's here. Now, broadcasting from the underground command post, deep in the bowels of a hidden bunker, somewhere under the brick and steel of a nondescript building, we've once again made contact with our leader, Mark Levin.
Hello, America. Mark Levin here. Our Power Hour, Hour 3. Our number 877-381-3811. 877-381-3811. There's 3 points I want to make in this segment. Not that it matters to you, but I take these issues I want to discuss and I put them in different piles. Not in terms of priority, but to try and create a rational and logical progression. Can't always do it. It's how my mind works. Or I'll have very thin piles because I decide I want to spend a couple hours on one particular subject that has enormous consequences. Now, last night I went through a number of things the Biden regime is doing that will directly harm your life and lifestyle. From HVAC systems to all other appliances in your home, to the automobile, how they're regulating things out of existence with preposterous demands, and none of this is as a result of laws passed by Congress. And so your prices are going to go up, manufacturing is going to be squeezed, we're going to lose more manufacturing jobs. Everything that Biden is doing is going to negatively affect your lives, your ability to pay for basics. We're going backwards. It's called the degrowth movement. When you hear climate change, think of the degrowth movement. It's a Marxist movement that was born in the 1970s in Europe. Again, I wrote about it in American Marxism at length. In this movement, they were trying to come up with a nomenclature. First, they called it global cooling, then global warming, and they settled on climate change because that covers everything. Every time there's a change in temperature or there's a bad year in terms of flooding or tornadoes or hurricanes, they can blame it on climate change. And, of course, that's Mother Nature, and that means more government, according to them. Government will fix these things, sure. The moon, the sun, the atmosphere, gravity. Your government? Geez. They blow $250 billion a year. They can't even build any EV stations, but they'll fix the world, the universe. Don't worry. Anyway, Washington Free Beacon, Thomas Cantonacci. President Biden's aggressive climate regulations targeting fossil fuel-fired power plants will create widespread electric grid instability and lead to mass blackouts impacting millions of Americans, according to a recent study commissioned by North Dakota state government. This is something we've been talking about and I've written about in at least 3 books. The research conducted in May by the firm Always On Energy Research concluded that the Environmental Protection Agency's recently finalized regulations are not technologically feasible. It will foreseeably lead to the retirement of coal-powered generation units, intermittent and weather-dependent green energy sources such as wind and solar, will replace such retired generators, leading to unreliable conditions, the study found. We saw this in Texas a few years ago. It was a disaster. Now, the study largely echoes concerns that have been voiced by the U.S. grid watchdog, the North American Electric Reliability Corporation, regional grid operators, and power utility companies. But you're not allowed to listen to them, you see, because they're actually businesses that know what they're doing, that are responsible for these activities right now. So you can't listen to them because they must be hoarding or profiteering and self-serving and big corporate, big business. What about big government? Oh, that's good. That's okay. So, 4 regional grid operators that oversee the infrastructure supplying power to 154 million Americans warned. After the EPA regulations were first proposed last year, the grid reliability would, quote, dwindle to concerning levels, unquote, under the regulations. The Edison Electric Institute, the lead industry group representing U.S. electric companies, in late May joined a lawsuit that challenged the EPA's finalized regulations. Biden's green agenda is shutting down baseload power and is rapidly destabilizing our electrical grid. Electricity costs are up 30% under Biden already, said North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum. Prices will continue to skyrocket if he's reelected as real power demand increases dramatically for the first time in decades for chip manufacturing and new foundational industries like AI. And they're pushing all our products and industries onto this electrical grid that can't handle what they're doing already. They're taking electricity off the market. Coal-generated electricity. They're reducing the availability of electricity. They're increasing the reliance on electricity. What is wrong with these people? It's like Israel and Hamas. Is it really that hard to choose the right side? Why are you funding Iran and Hamas and have your foot on Israel's throat? You scratch your hands. What the hell is wrong with these people? They're ideologues. That's what's wrong with them. In April, the EPA finalized the first part of a multi-pronged effort to curb greenhouse gas emissions produced by the nation's power sector. The regulations, remember what I told you, this is the degrowth movement. Degrowth movement. What's going to happen? In a single word, poverty. The impoverishment of the American people. We have a reliable source of energy today. That will end. You can see the affordabilities going up and up and up because Biden's taking more and more energy production mechanisms out of the market. He rushes to take the fuel out of these special emergency reserves that he didn't put in there in the first place, that Trump did in other presidents, which are down to the bottom right now. So you look at that. Then we have the U.S. attorney in Washington, D.C., which makes him very powerful, who prosecuted the praying grandma, drops charges against carjacker that killed an elderly woman. The Daily fetched a female suspect who carjacked a vehicle with an elderly woman inside who later died, had all of her charges against her dropped, igniting fury. U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves, this guy's a sleazeball, who dropped the charges, was the exact attorney who prosecuted a praying grandma for blocking an abortion clinic in 2023. It took only 3 days for D.C. U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves to drop murder and kidnapping charges in the carjacking case that killed an elderly woman at the doorstep of his office. But he protects the carjacker. This is the U.S. Attorney of Washington, D.C. Then there's this. Pennsylvania, I hope you're paying attention. Bob Casey, this is from Breitbart. Bob Casey, running for re-election, allegedly used a fake phone call to avoid answering questions about hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal funding he secured for a Philadelphia LGBTQ center that reportedly performs sex change surgeries on minors. The National Republican Senatorial Committee shared a video on Wednesday morning of Casey ignoring questions about the funds he secured for the Mazzoni Center as he walked down the street and spoke into his phone. The group wrote in the past that Casey, who's up for re-election against our friend, he's great, Republican businessman Dave McCormick, quote, faked a phone call when asked why he gave $400,000 in federal funds to a controversial center that performs sex change surgeries on minors. The Daily Mail first reported on Saturday that Casey nabbed $400,000 in funding for the Mazzoni Center. In the post, the Mazzoni Center boasts that its leadership, and Casey announced a $400,000 congressional appropriation for medical equipment and facility upgrades, including a building generator to protect refrigerated pharmaceuticals and vaccines. But the Daily Mail said the center is known to provide puberty blockers and hormone therapy for patients, including kids. In addition to providing treatment at the center, the group also connects patients to surgeons who can perform sex change procedures. In Pennsylvania, these surgeries on minors are legal. The group has also reportedly been tied to multiple transgender youth events, including backing a, quote, Pride prom for LGBTQ high school-age teens, per the Mail. So this guy campaigns in Pennsylvania as a Democrat moderate, pulls the same crap that Biden does, and he's a radical extremist who votes with Bernie Sanders 99% of the time. 99% of the time. That's Bob Casey. A fraud. I'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Welcome back, America. I'm very pleased to have with us a tremendous patriot. Really, just a great guy. Ken Hartman, who is really the man behind our communitysalutes.org. My wife works with Ken, as do other great patriots, but Ken is the leader. He's the general. And Ken Hartman, welcome to the Mark Levin Show. Tell us about our Community Salutes, how it started, your involvement in it, and why it's so important.
Well, thanks, Mark, again for having me on your show. It's such an honor to be with you and your listeners. It all started in 2009 when, in a moment of weakness, I agreed to serve on our local school board. What a nightmare that was, as you can
trust me, I was on a school board, too. You're right.
I know. But what I discovered shortly after joining the board in 2009 was that we were doing nothing to honor the high school seniors and their parents, the high school seniors who were planning to enlist in the military following graduation. I couldn't believe it. And, well, as an old soldier myself, I knew I needed to do something about that. So I planned this nonprofit organization, our Community Salutes, and we held our first dinner for all the kids and their families in Camden County, New Jersey, and South Jersey. Well, little did I know the word would get out about our Community Salutes. And by the way, these kids that we honor, back in 2009, many of them were going off to war, but at the same time we weren't honoring them. We had all sorts of affairs for our D1 athletes and their signing days when those high school seniors were going off, and nothing for the kids when they were signing their contracts to defend our nation. So we started with one ceremony. The word got out about OCS, and I started getting phone calls. And we grew from one location in South Jersey to 10 locations, to 20 locations, to 30 locations, to 50 locations, to 60 locations, 70 locations, all over the country. So since 2009, we've honored over 250,000 high school seniors who have made the selfless decision to serve their nation after high school.
And this makes the world a difference to those young men and women and their families, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And, anybody who's ever come to an OCS ceremony, and we don't charge anybody to come to these events. We raise the money through great Americans and corporations that want to help us support this important mission now more than ever. But anybody who's ever been to their ceremonies, and of course you can see the videos on our website, will see the impact that these kids at these ceremonies have. When you bring together veterans from the community, the active duty people like yourself, it's magic. That's all I can describe it. And anybody's ever been to our ceremony, and we've done literally hundreds and hundreds of them since 2009, will experience the same thing.
Folks, you can go to ourcommunitysalutes.org and really see what they're doing. Ourcommunitysalutes.org. It's on all my social platforms. I want you to check it out. And you don't take any federal monies, and you're proud of that, right?
We are. We're very proud of that. It's not the federal government's job to thank these kids. It's the communities. It's the Boeings. It's the Lockheeds. It's the corporations out there. And we've been very blessed with some great companies like USAA, Navy Federal, Comcast, who have made these possibles. But We've got hundreds of volunteers across the country that are literally doing garage sales and lawn sales so they can pay for the food and beverage or the venue that we do these ceremonies in. And, people often ask, Mark, how can I support? Well, obviously you can make a donation to support us, but we have a very easy way for all Americans, and that's our virtual thank you card to the class of 2024. It's a real easy way for people to go and sign our virtual thank you card. You can go to ourcommunitysalutes.org or simply ocsusa.org. You'll see the virtual thank you card. You'll write a little message there for these kids and their moms and dads. Our goal is to get 1 million Americans to sign that card by the end of the year. So these young people, and as you know, fewer and fewer kids are interested in serving. The patriotism is way down. This is your way to thank these kids and their moms and dads for that decision.
Folks, I think this is worthy of a Levin surge. It just to sign this letter with a little note thanking these high school seniors who are going into the military. They deserve our thanks. This is what America is all about. This is what we here on this program are all about. Just go to ourcommunitysalutes.org. You'll find a link there, ourcommunitysalutes.org, and please sign the letter, add a few words. People ask me all the time, they call this program, Ken, what can I do? What can I do? This is really very easy to do. So I want to encourage everybody who's listening to this program, your family members, other people, pass the word. Please sign the letter. Let's get to 1 million people with a little note. And let's show the rest of the country that, in fact, we Americans are patriotic. We do love our country, and we do support these young men and women who are seniors, who are volunteering to put their lives on the line and help in any way they can. There's not enough of that today. Now, Ken Hartman, tell us about you in the military, your family, and so forth, and what you're doing each and every day with respect to this, and give us a feel for it. Do we lose him, Mr. Producer? I think we lost him, but we'll find him.
Hey, okay. I'm here again.
All right, Ken. So tell America a little about yourself, your family, the involvement day to day in this, and you've got board members, you've got wonderful people who come and speak and MC and so forth and so on.
We do, yeah. We have an amazing board made up of not only retired senior military leaders, officers, NCOs, but true patriots that have come together to serve our mission. Me, I was an old soldier back in a Cold War veteran. My father was a Holocaust survivor, and it was a GI who liberated my family. It's the primary reason why I decided to sign up in 1977 to serve our country. But we have amazing volunteers of all ages and types that help make this possible, Mark. I'm just the leader of the band, but truly board members like your wife have just bent over backwards to help us to raise the money necessary to continue this mission. Our goal is to have a ceremony in every state by 2026, and we're in 22 right now, plus Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And I believe your listeners can help escape that goal. But the first thing, again, as I said before, it is truly signing the virtual thank you card at ocsusa.org could be a great first step in that.
And folks, any little contribution you can make helps. It really does. And this is a fairly small organization that's doing enormous good in our communities. They're not flashy. They don't get a lot of press. They're not seeking a lot of press. They don't want any government involvement. They don't want any government money. This is what Americans do in their communities, in their homes. They honor their own young people who are joining up for the military to defend this country. This is what we used to do. This is sort of a Norman Rockwell picture organization, if you ask me. Go to ourcommunitysalutes.org, ourcommunitysalutes.org. We're going to take a little break. We're going to come back with Ken Hartman. And then, Ken, I want you to tell us the kinds of people who the audience might know, who've been involved in various ceremonies that you've held all over the country. Not because it's flashy or anything like that, but because they've wanted to help, and they've wanted to help raise support so that we can support these young people. We'll be right back again. Check it out during the break, ourcommunitysalutes.org. Sign that letter. Leave a little message if you can. Leave a little bit of money. They can use it. There's no government involvement, no government funds whatsoever. I'll be right back.
The establishment's worst nightmare. Mark Levin. Call in now. 877-381-3811.
You know, America, what if I told you? What if I told you you can be part of a big movement that inspires these high school seniors that are joining the military, young men and young women, and their families, with a big thank you by signing a virtual thank you card? A virtual thank you card. All you have to do is go to ourcommunitysalutes.org, ourcommunitysalutes.org. We talk about what can we do. Mark, I'm asked in diners, at supermarkets, on the street, Mark, what can we do? Here's something we can do. This is a community-based organization that has nothing to do with government welfare, taxation, programs. It was the brainchild of Ken Hartman, who's on with me now, and it is spread in various communities, and it is such an important movement. It'll make you feel great. Ourcommunitysalutes.org. It's on all my social platforms. It's easy just to click it. And please sign the virtual thank you card and leave a little note to these young people. They need to know that we're behind them. You see what they see on TV every day. You see what they hear every day, but that's not America. That's the media. That's not America. This is America. And Ken Hartman, quietly, is persuading people to do what they just need to be asked to do, and that's what they do. Ken Hartman, ourcommunitysalutes.org, ourcommunitysalutes.org. I just want to remind people, the only way you're funded is through private donations, whether it's businesses or individuals here and there. And the more you get, the more of these you can have in these various communities. And that's what you mean. You want to have one in every state, so seniors in high school who join the military in every state are told, and their families, how much they're appreciated, correct?
That's right. And, there isn't a week that goes by, Mark, that I don't get an email from somebody around the country hearing about our community salutes and asking if there's an event near them, the ceremony near them. And unfortunately, it's a big country, and it breaks my heart every time. We have so many people that are reaching out to us, wanting to start an OCS ceremony. We also, besides just recognizing these young people, we have what we call OCS Connect. It's on our website. It's the first and only resource for the parents of these kids and how we can empower the parents to help these kids with helping their kid with their first paycheck or early college planning or making a transition, because 75% of these kids are only going to serve for 4 years. Every business that says to me, I want to hire a veteran, I tell them, get on board with us. Talk to these kids before they go in, because most of them are coming home and ended up in their parents' basements because that 4 years goes by very, very fast. So it's both recognition and support. And we want to expand, like you said, to other states, and we want to offer more modules to help these kids, but we can't do it without individuals helping us in corporations.
This reminds me, Ken Hartman, when I was a kid, I used to watch these shows of little towns, Main Street America, how people would rally. On July 4th, there'd be parades. There was the American flag. This is the picture in my mind, little diners and groceries and general stores. This is what I think of when I think of your organization. Mm-hmm. These sorts of things all over the country, inspiring, promoting. Tell us the names of some of the people who have asked you if they could come to these events, speak at these events, or even moderate these events.
Absolutely. The list goes on and on, from medal honor recipients, dozens of them who performed, senior military leaders, celebrities like Pete Hegseth spoke, governors. We had Governor DeSantis in Florida, both Democrats and Republicans. It's truly bipartisan. They're there. They wake up the understanding that no one talks about the importance of serving anymore. And then these young kids and their families, oftentimes they've never even met another family member whose kid's going to the military. They come to our events and they begin to network. They begin sharing information. They support each other in the community. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to reconnect America community one by one back to its nation's military, back to the history and patriotism that founded this country. And somewhere along the way, we've lost that. And as we grow, that's what we're trying to do, empower these communities to understand the importance of that patriotism.
It's ourcommunitysalutes.org. Don't put it off, folks. You know how you get busy, I get busy, you forget stuff. Just jot it down, ourcommunitysalutes.org, or go over there right now, try their link. Please sign the virtual thank you card. We want to get to 1 million. And that would really say something to these young people and their families. Leave a little message. And please, if you can leave a little bit of money so this can occur in every state of the union, that these young people know that we have their backs, that it's not about what goes on in these colleges and universities, the protests against America, the burning of the American flag, the replacing it with another flag, and all the rest of it. This is the future. We need to get behind the future. We need to get behind these families on the way into the military. Anything else, Ken, while I have you?
Mark, I just want to remind folks that they can also volunteer in their community. Again, we're not everywhere, but they can come to our website, and if they want to be one of our ambassadors, to come to our ceremonies, to help us. Some cases, the ambassadors bake cookies and cakes for the event. There are so many ways in which, particularly the veterans out there, my call out to my fellow veterans, this is your new service. This is the time for you to recommit yourself to our nation, and we'd love to have you. Just come to ourcommunitysalutes.org or ocsusa.org, and you can learn all about it. Thank you, Mark. Thank you.
Well, let me say this, Ken, to those of us who haven't served. You know, we got to do something too. And it seems to me something like this is not only easy to do, it is very spiritual. It's very fulfilling. It makes you feel great. Mm-hmm. So please go to ourcommunitysalutes.org, ourcommunitysalutes.org, do the virtual thank you card, leave them some money, and learn about them. And if you want to help them, you can do that too. I want to thank you, Ken, for everything you're doing for the country, for these young people, for their families. What a brilliant, brilliant idea. Really, volunteers, local communities, that's what we're talking about here, not this federal government iron fist stuff. And you're doing an absolutely unbelievable job, my friend.
Well, I got to give a shout out to there are hundreds of volunteers that are making it happen across the country. I just lit the spark, and I had no idea that there was this void. And it's an honor to go around the country and see what everybody's doing to honor our nation's newest and youngest service members.
Well, God bless you and your family. And
thank you.
My wife, Julie, keeps in touch, and she informs me of everything. So you take care of yourself, and I mean that.
He's amazing. Thank you. And thank you very much for having me on today. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, my brother. You take care of yourself. This man is absolutely selfless. You don't know everything. I'm just telling you, he's absolutely selfless. It brings tears to my eye. So I really don't try to persuade you in a strong way. I don't know what else to say. Please go to that site, ourcommunitysalutes.org. Please sign the virtual thank you card and leave a little note. That's not so hard to do. And if you can, leave them some money so we can get this in every single state of the union. People attend these things, and it really is heartwarming to see these young people and to see their families. And when they look at you and they smile and they're excited to know that people support them. Governor DeSantis was in one of these. And from what I'm told, it really had an impact on him, as it does everybody. My buddy Larry O'Connor, one of the hosts on WMAL, Alan West is another. I don't know everybody. Pete Hegseth is involved. It's just very, very exciting. And you see how low-key it is. They pour all their money into the ceremony celebrating the children and their families. That's where it all goes. One more time, ourcommunitysalutes.org, it would really put a smile on my face if we shut down that website, Mr. Producer. That so many people were pouring in there to sign the card and leave a little donation that the website shut down. Let me tell you, we've shut down the congressional phones over the years. It wouldn't upset me if you shut down their link. Please all pour in there. Give from your heart. This is a tremendous cause. Where am I, Mr. Producer? We'll be right back.
Mark Levin.
Folks, we need to turn out en masse and win this damn election. Not just to stop Biden, that would be good enough, but the Republicans actually have some great ideas. I'm reading this story in the news, CNN of all places. Speaker Mike Johnson met with Senate Republicans. They're looking for ways to advance their agenda next year. If Trump's elected, they take the Senate and hold the House. And they're talking about using this tool, reconciliation. See, the Democrats abused the tool. It was just to be for budget purposes, but they used it for Obamacare and other things. And the Republicans are saying, okay, we can use that tool too. And they want more tax cuts. They want to use it to secure the border. They want to use it to advance a America agenda. We've got to take the presidency. We've got to take the Senate. We've got to hold the House. We've got to put our stupid little ass differences aside, folks. We've got to take it back, or we're going to lose everything. And these little differences won't matter. They won't matter. I'm very excited about what I'm reading here. We were really talking more about future transactions, you know, the way that we'll go about tax reform. Senator Kramer of North Dakota said we can go far beyond just tax changes. They were brainstorming what to do. What to do. They said the main idea is to think big. Let's think bigger than just taxes, Kramer said. And even these so-called rhinos were agreeing with that. We're agreeing with that. And they're talking about fundamental changes in the government. They're talking about securing the border. They didn't make this, in a big press release. They were talking among themselves that they can use this process. They're thinking big. We've got to take this damn government back. And I'm counting on you. I'm counting on me. It's very, very important. More on this tomorrow. I want to circle back. You heard from this great patriot. He's a quiet man. He doesn't seek to draw attention to himself. The organization doesn't have a lot of publicity. They don't spend money on marketing. It's word of mouth. It's town to town, community to community. This is what America was built on. That's what this reminds me of. Our communitysalutes.org. Please check out their website, ourcommunitysalutes.org. You heard me speak to their wonderful leader, although he's very bashful in a way. He doesn't like being called a leader, but he is. His name is Ken Hartman. He's a veteran. And please sign the card. Please sign the virtual thank you card to these young people so they and their families know that we back them, that what they see on TV is not normal, what they hear from the president is not normal, that we regular normal Americans, that we cannot thank them enough. And please provide some support to this organization, whatever you can afford, so this can be done in every state and every community in every state. And thanks to Ken Hartman, and thanks to this organization, ourcommunitysalutes.org, and I am very proud that my wife is on the board of this group. That's not why I'm promoting it. Truth is, I wouldn't even know about it but for her. I am proud of these people, that they saw a need, and they didn't lobby a Congress, senator or congressman. They didn't slip language into a bill, trillions of dollars being spent, so much to a different organization. No. They just worked at the community level. You heard what he said, Camden County, New Jersey, which is right across the Delaware River from where I was born and grew up, in Pennsylvania. It's a blue-collar area. And this gentleman, Ken Hartman, he told you about his family in the Holocaust. Joined the Army in 1977. He's a veteran. He's a patriot. And the more people learn about this, the more they get excited about it, and the more volunteers participate. You heard. They have people who even bake goods for these different events. This is volunteerism. This is Americanism. If you can't join them and actually volunteer at the local level, assuming they have an event near you, please sign the thank you card. It's a virtual thank you card. Leave a little note, and please leave a little money before you leave the site. We salute our armed forces, police officers, firefighters, emergency personnel, our brothers and sisters in Ukraine, our brothers and sisters in Israel. We have your back, even though Biden doesn't. And you, the great American people. God bless each and every one of you, and I'll see you tomorrow. Be well.